Hello students, welcome to the next session. Today we will be discussing messages, which is the concept in your first chapter of VC++. So the concept is regarding how the information will be transmitted from your application to the operating system. First let me give you a brief introduction about how the operating system will be handling your requests. For example, if I consider an example as Windows. Windows is any kind of operating system. If Windows is one kind of operating system, this operating system will be interacting between your hardware devices and the software devices. That means to say, whatever request that you are going to send through the software, that will be displayed on the hardware. Or suppose say consider I have a keyboard. Keyboard is a hardware device. If I press any key, that is I am giving some response with the help of a keyboard. That information will be sent to some software or it will be sent to the operating system. That operating system will be displaying that information onto the application. Example, suppose if you have MS Word. MS Word is an application. If MS Word is an application, now I want to type a letter or if I want to type a message called as welcome on MS Word. Now if I want to do that, if you consider you have this monitor, you have keyboard. So on the keyboard you are going to type the information. That information you are going to see on the monitor. In between what you are going to have is the CPU. So we are going to have CPU. We are going to have monitor. I am going to consider keyboard. So whatever information I type on the keyboard, that information will be sent to the CPU. In CPU, we are going to have the basic software or the important software called as operating system. That operating system receives that instructions, and that instructions will be sent to the application that I am using on the operating system. The application, suppose I am using the application as MS Word. So now this information what I have received from the keyboard, it will be sent to operating system. From there it will be sent to MS Word, and from there again it will be sent back to your CPU. From that CPU again it will be sending the information to the hardware device which is monitor. So this, as you observe, you have in this example, as you observe, you have different types of events that is going on. One is we are going to take the information from hardware device that will be sent to some software. Again some software processing is done there and the result is shown back to some hardware device. So if I want to do this kind of processing, there is interaction between the keyboard and the operating system. That is to say, the hardware devices will be interacting with the operating system and the operating system will be interacting with the application. So these type of interactions we will consider it as messages. So messages is to say, so whenever some action has to be performed, we need the support of resources. So we need to use that resource. Example, say I want to display some any information onto the monitor. The resource is what? The resource is the monitor. Now without accessing that monitor device, I cannot display anything on the monitor. So that is to say, we need to send the message saying that I need to display this information. So those type of interactions we will consider it as messages. In short form, we will consider it as procedure call. We will consider it as procedure call. So procedure, or again I can consider it as function. What does that mean? For example, I am reading the input. Example, I will consider one simple example that you have already used. For example, scanf. So what is the meaning of scanf function that you have studied in C programming? Scanf function is used for reading input. Whenever you want to read the input from the keyboard device, we will be using the function called as scanf. That is to say, scanf is a procedure or a function which is used for what? Reading the information from the input device. In the similar way, when we give some information through our input device or if I want to display some input output onto any output device, we need to call that particular procedures or that particular function. That procedure calling is nothing but messages. Simply to say, messages is nothing but we are going to call certain kind of procedures based on the action. Now we have 5 different types of basic functions or basic messages in VC++. First one is like to say create. What does create mean? Create mean is, suppose on the desktop I have several applications. I have an application like Paint. I have an application called as MS Word. So these applications are stored in the hard disk. Now I want to start that application. So now one basic thing you need to understand is, whenever any program that wants to execute, that particular program has to be loaded into your primary memory, which is RAM. So RAM is a primary memory, so which will be handling the data that is currently under execution. Now if that is the case, I want to start MS Word. If I want to start MS Word, I will click on the MS Word icon. Whenever I click on the MS Word icon, the related information or the software or the program that is related to MS Word will be loaded into RAM. So what is the meaning of loaded into RAM? That is nothing but we are going to allocate memory. We are going to allocate memory for the program of MS Word. So that is done when a WM create function is called. So that is to say, when WM create function is called, memory is allocated for the application. For the application, memory is allocated when we are going to call a message which is WM create. Next, we will see what is the next function. So next function or next message which is WM paint. So WM paint is one more type of message. What is that? What is the use of that message? As the name says, paint. Paint is, just to take an example, I have the paint application. So whenever I open a paint application, it will be a blank white screen, and we'll have the tools towards left side. By using that tool, suppose say I will select a pen. By using that tool, I can draw a line, or I can write something on the paint. Now what does that mean is, on this blank screen I am displaying some information. That is, say I will be displaying some word or some alphabets like this, ABC. I am writing like this on the paint application. That is to say, on a simple white screen I have written 3 letters called as ABC. The same way you have your monitor. Monitor will also act as a blank display, a blank screen. On that, if you want to display anything, suppose I want to display an image, or I want to display any kind of objects onto the monitor, we will be calling the function called as WM paint. So WM paint is whenever some information has to be written onto the display device, then we are going to call this message called as WM paint. Understood? Now we'll go to the next this next message, which is WM command. What is WM command? WM command is, it is going to handle the events. What kind of events? Suppose I created an application. Suppose I have started MS Word. So that is nothing but whenever I click on MS Word icon, it will be created. That is nothing but it will be stored into RAM. Once it is stored into RAM, it is going to call WM paint. That is nothing but on the monitor you are going to see the MS Word application. You are going to see the MS Word application on the monitor. Once you see MS Word application on the monitor, you will be using mouse or you will be using keyboard to do some action on that particular application. So whenever you are using mouse or keyboard on that application, so mouse click or key press, those things will be acting as events. So to handle those events, the operating system or the application is going to start a message. That message is called as WM command. What is WM command is? Whenever you perform any kind of events on the application, it is going to call one particular basic message. That message is WM command. Now coming for the next type of message, which is WM close. What is WM close? WM closes, I have some information that is displayed on the monitor. Now suppose I will try to minimize it. If I try to minimize that application, you will see the MS Word application what you have opened, that will be at the taskbar. It will be minimized and it will be at the taskbar on your desktop. So if that is the case, the information that what you have, that will be in the RAM only. The application or data what you have typed, that information will be stored in the main memory only. Only thing is, we are going to redraw the monitor, in the sense whatever information that you have on the display device has changed. Previously it was MS Word was displaying, now it was hidden. It was we are going to minimize it. Since we have minimized it, whatever information we have will be hidden. So that is when we do some action where we will be hiding the application. In that case, we are going to call WM close. Finally, coming for WM destroy. WM destroyers, suppose I have this MS Word application, I have this close button on the application. Whenever I close the application, what does that mean is, whatever data that is related to that particular application has to be removed from the main memory, which is RAM. Okay, so this is what we are going to do when WM destroy method is called. So WM destroy method or WM destroy message, when it is called is when the application is executed and when we want to stop that execution. So when it is when it wants to be removed from the main memory, then we are going to call a message called as WM destroy. So these are the different types of messages that we are going to use in VC++. So I'll just go through once again in brief. WM create. WM create is when you start the application, memory will be allocated for that application. To allocate that memory, we need certain functions or certain procedures. That procedure is WM create. Next, coming for WM paint. WM paint is that any kind of information if you want to display onto the monitor, we will be calling a function called as paint. So if you want to display any information on the monitor, we are going to call the function called as WM paint. Next, coming for WM command. What is WM command is? Whatever action that you perform, any kind of action like mouse click, mouse drag or mouse move, key press, key release, all those type of different types of events, when you perform on the application, it is going to generate a message called as WM command. Next, coming for WM close. If you want to change the information on the display device or when you want to redraw some information on the display device without deleting the information from the main memory, we will be calling the message called as WM close. Finally, coming for the last type of message, which is WM destroy. Once this function is called, whatever information that is present in the RAM, that is to say all the data that is related to application, will be deleted from the RAM. So this is these are the different types of messages that you will see in Visual C++. So thank you. If you have any doubts, you can just contact me so that I will be answering your doubts. Thank you.